How's it going, everybody? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about a very controversial topic in the jiu-jitsu culture is, should white belts learn leg locks? Why or why not? Here's my thoughts, and we'll get that started right now. What's up, everybody? My name is Chasen. I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt. I've been teaching and training now for over 12 years. So if you like all things jiu-jitsu, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below, and let me know, when did you guys start learning leg locks? When did you start to apply them into your game? Make sure you comment that down below. I'm gonna give you guys my perspective, kind of where my mindset comes from, and then leading up to right now. Like I said, I've been teaching and training for over 12 years. So whenever I came into jiu-jitsu in the beginning, I didn't learn any leg locks until I was an upper belt, probably like a blue belt really, because at that time, tournaments only allowed at certain belt for certain leg locks to be allowed. So I believe it was at blue belt, you could do a foot lock. At purple belt, knee bars were allowed. And then around brown belt, I think you could do toe holds and more things like heel hooks. And that was only in certain tournaments. There's been a lot of times, there's just been no leg locks allowed all the way up into black belt too, until really recently. So that's, I think, why I didn't learn them sooner. You know, I didn't learn really most of them until I was an upper belt. So maybe I was like a purple or brown. And I'm still, because there's leg locks are the newest thing out right now. It's kind of the most growth in the sport, I would say. And I'm still learning it myself and getting caught up. But I didn't even really start playing with them until I was probably like a purple or brown belt, honestly. More tournaments are allowing white belts to be exposed to leg locks a lot sooner. I don't think it's a bad idea that white belts start to get introduced to them. I think it has to come from the top down of how the school is organized. Let's kind of go over a few things. Usually why leg locks are frowned upon at most academies, it's because of two things. It's number one, the person that's applying the leg lock may not have a full grasp of how a leg lock works, because your leg is constructed differently than like your arm or your shoulder is. So if you don't really have an understanding of how a leg lock works, you can really injure somebody. And then number two, the person who's getting the leg lock done to them, if they turn or twist the wrong way, they could actually injure themselves. That's a lot of times why leg locks have just been like not allowed at most schools, because if everyone's getting hurt from leg locks, then the academy's not gonna have any students, and everyone's gonna be walking around in a wheelchair, and knees and ankles are gonna be blown out, and it's just not a good day for anybody. Like at my academy, what we have is we have a general rule that we tell everybody is, if you're sparring with a white belt, you can put a white belt in a leg lock position, but you cannot finish the submission. So for example, if you wanted to put them in like ashigarami or like a leg locking position, you can use that move as like a sweep and kind of control them, and even use it as like a guard pass, but you're not allowed to like finish the foot lock or the heel hook on them. Because like I said, you may be doing it right as an upper belt, but they may turn the wrong way and then they blow out their own leg. So you kind of have to have that as a general rule. Now, when it's blue belt, it's a little bit more fair game at our academy. You're allowed to finish the submissions and move on. The only submission that we don't allow anyone to finish around the gym is the heel hook. The heel hook is so dangerous that if they turn the wrong way, or a person turns the wrong way, or if the student really gets it locked in and it moves, it can just blow out somebody's knee. So our general rule is that once you lock in a heel hook, you just hold it, you count to 3 or 4 or 5, and then once that's done, it's done, and then you can move on. But other ones like straight ankle locks and knee bars, they're allowed to put a little bit more pressure on, because those don't damage the knee quite as much. Believe it or not, one of the biggest injuries, not really at our academy, but that I have seen, is from toe holds. Because toe holds are, the way that it's locked on is it really can blow out the ankle fairly easily, because now you have two of your arms, you know, doing almost like a Kimura movement onto an ankle. And so they can be blown out super easy on a toe hold. You always have to be careful. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad idea to introduce white belts to leg locks, especially if their desires to become tournament driven and they're wanting to enter into tournaments. And you know, if the tournament's allowed at their division, then they should probably have a basic understanding and knowledge of that. Like I said, whenever I started, all the tournaments that I did as a white belt and even as a blue belt, most foot locks weren't even allowed. Like I said, at blue belt, you could maybe do an ankle lock, but at white belt, there was no tournament that I ever competed in that was allowed for a leg lock, so I never really focused on that. I want to say, just because they're allowed at white belt division I don't think white belts should only focus and make their game based around leg locks. That's stupid, of course, and I can say that. I'm sure there's someone out there that disagrees with me. But making your whole game focused around leg locks as a white belt is ridiculous. And there's a lot of other things that you need to learn, like shrimping and bridging and all the basics and other things like that too. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad idea that they start to play with them, especially if they're going to be introduced into tournaments and they have a little bit more knowledge in the gym. And obviously, it has to come from the gym. If the academy that you train at is structured like very similar to ours, where everyone kind of knows the rules and everyone's willing to help each other and no one's getting hurt, then I think it's totally fine. But, like I said, they kind of got outlawed for a long time and still are at some gyms. They're still outlawed completely at gyms, and because people can't do them safely. I think as the sport grows and as the art grows and we get a better understanding of it, I think that will become, less normal to just not train them at all. But yeah, so that's my thought on white belts learning leg locks. Make sure you guys let me know whenever you started training them. What are your experience with them? And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.